Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming a chatty video just talking about what happened. It's a life update. Plus I'm playing with the newest palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. If you guys want to see swatches, eye look, hear what happened to me last week, then just keep watching. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. My name is KARENHARRIS. I like to film tan girl friendly makeup videos here on YouTube. I usually like to post about 3 to 4 beauty videos every week. So highly recommend subscribing, turning on that bell so you're notified every time I post. And without further blabbering, let's get into it. Okay, you guys, so I saw sneak peeks of this palette and I was so excited. And it did launch already, so you are able to pick this palette up on the Unearthly Cosmetics website. I am a Unearthly Cosmetics affiliate, so if you want to use my code KHMAKEUP to save some money on your Unearthly Cosmetics purchases, feel free to do so. This palette retails for $50, which I think is such a good price point because you get 24 eyeshadows. So this is what the inside of the palette looks like. From what I remember, this is, I think, their biggest eyeshadow palette. I don't recall how many shades are in the All I Ever Wanted palettes off the top of my head, but this one definitely feels like the biggest palette. I've already swatched these shadows, so I will show you guys close-ups. Just don't mind my arm. It's a little bit bruised from last week, which we're going to talk about in a little while, but it looks a little bruised and I will explain why. But these eyeshadows are so fun, so beautiful. I'm so excited to have more colorful matte shades from Unearthly, and I love that they did some deep mattes, but a lot of them are mid-tone mattes, so I think this will pair really nicely with the After Dark palette if you have that one. It's the one that has like the most grungy dark mattes, so I think this palette would pair really well with a lot of the palettes that already exist in the Unearthly lineup. And then I just want to show you guys a size comparison for the pans because this palette does have smaller pans in it. And so let me show you against this one, the Not Normal palette. As you can see, Unearthly typically has a much bigger pans, but honestly I would rather have less product and pay less money because I never really pan eyeshadow palettes. And I don't think a lot of people do anymore either, but here is the size comparisons. So the Not Normal palette is basically almost the same size as this Vitality palette, but as you can see, you get way more shades. I'll also throw up close-ups and show you guys close-up swatches and things like that, but I'm really excited to play with this palette. I definitely think this is one that you could easily do like 3, 4, 5, 10 looks with, but today I have multiple plans with this video. I kind of want to tell you guys a little life update. I want to play with some new makeup because I'm so behind, so hopefully you guys don't mind a little bit of both, and yeah, let's get into that. Okay, so I have on my Hourglass foundation. I have that in my Shop My Stash, so I threw a little bit of it on just to kind of like even out my skin. I haven't worn makeup in like a week or so, so I'm really excited to play with some makeup. So I've been talking a bunch about how much I love this e.l.f. cream eyeshadow in the white shade as just like an eye base, and it's so affordable. So I'm going to start off there. And so let's see if I can do this. Let me see if I can multitask and tell you kind of what happened and all of the things, and also play with this palette. So I want to do a little bit of a life update because I kind of had a chaotic week last week, but just so you guys know, it's like half life update, half like this palette. So if you want to hear my thoughts at the end about this palette, I'll leave a timestamp so you can skip the drama. But basically it's not really drama, but it's a little bit like TMI, a little bit of medical stuff that I don't really particularly understand. But anyway, so last week I got my first period since I had my baby. So she just turned 9 months, so I haven't had a period for like well over a year. So yeah, I was thinking like whatever, this sucks, and I was like feeling a little crampy and all the things, and I was like, okay, well this is probably pretty normal, and I was just like going about my existence. So the first 2 days were fine, and then day like 3 came along and I was feeling pretty crappy. I texted my husband, which I never usually like have him help me with Freya because he works full-time outside of the home. And so I was like, hey, like, can you come home just to like watch her because I feel pretty tired and not good. So I asked him to come help me out because I wasn't like feeling 100% myself. And so he came home from work and he was watching her. So I took like a little nap and I felt a little bit better. And then we have friends that were expecting, and so we were like wanting to plan like dinner before their baby came. So we finally went to dinner. We went to like a local barbecue place and had food, and I still was feeling kind of crummy, but I was like, okay, my friend's like pregnant, like about to have a baby, like I can, you know, suck it up and go out to dinner. So we went out to dinner. Everything went well, and then we went to crumble cookies. I never even had those cookies, by the way. Anyway, so we went to crumble cookies and came home. I was still feeling kind of crappy, went to bed, and I think the whole night I was just like having fever, having chills, and I was just feeling gross. So I asked my husband, like, hey, can you stay home from work? Like, I don't think I can take care of Freya by myself today. And he's like, well, let me check your temperature. So I had like 103 temp, which is, I guess, pretty high. And so he was like, oh, your like temp's pretty high. Like, let me just bring you to the hospital, or not the hospital, to the urgent care, just so they can like, you know, give you some medicine. And if I'm going to take time off work, like I need to have like a good reason to stay home, and like, you know, I'll have them check you out. So we go to the doctor, and I'm like at the urgent care, like we're like the second patients in line because they opened at like 7:30 a.m. And so we got there and we were like waiting for the doors to open, and like I get in there and I like feel like shit, and I'm just like, oh my God, like I just want to get out of here. And so we get into the doctor, and the doctor's like checking my blood pressure and stuff, and they're like, oh my gosh, like your blood pressure is really low and your heart rate is really high for somebody that's just like sitting in the doctor's office. So I was kind of like out of it almost immediately at that point, and they were like trying to get me an IV, and they weren't really sure like what was wrong with me. So they put an IV in, and I'm just like sitting there like in and out, like I just like feel like I want to go to the bathroom. I feel like intense pain like shooting up my arm when I'm like sitting there. And so it was just wild. Like I feel so bad because I don't really remember most of it, but like I'm pretty sure like my husband's probably like so traumatized from like watching that whole situation go down. And then they told my husband, and I remember them telling him like, okay, we have to get her to the ER. Like, you know, all of a sudden, like they're contacting like the ambulance service, and I'm just like thinking like, oh, can we not just drive there? Like, I like, do I have to take an ambulance? Cause like, I don't know if it's the same in like whatever country that like you guys are in watching this, but typically, I think the consensus is in the US, like an ambulance ride is like so expensive. So I'm sitting there thinking like, do we really have to take an ambulance? Like, can I not just like have my husband drive me to the hospital? Anyway, I think if I had suggested that, Rill might have had like a actual coronary there. But so I got loaded up on the ambulance, and off we went to the hospital that we had just literally drove past to get to the urgent care. It was actually the hospital that Freya was born in. It's a very big hospital in our town, and we happen to live really close to it. We actually have to go further away to get to urgent care than to the hospital. So anyway, we get to the hospital, they take me to the ER, and I don't even know, it was just like IVs, tests, more tests, CT scans, all of the things. And I was relatively okay, like I wasn't in any like crazy amount of pain or anything like that, but I just kept feeling like my hands were really itchy. That was like the one symptom I felt like throughout the whole time, and I'm still feeling a little bit of. But once I got done with CT scans and stuff like that, they were moving me to intermediate care. And so once I got to intermediate care, it kind of went downhill before it went uphill. So I was being like pumped full of fluids, and I wasn't going to the bathroom, so they had to give me like a Foley catheter, I think is what it's called. I had to have a central line put in. Like there was just like so much that happened. And overall, it just felt wild because I've never been like a sickly person, or like I've never really had to go to the hospital. Like when I had Freya, that was like my first time like having an IV and stuff. So I was pretty, you know, confused about what was going on. Luckily, I was able to like handle the pain and stuff of like the IVs and stuff, but oh my gosh, it was like such a surreal experience, and it was so hard for my husband because, you know, I watch my daughter pretty much exclusively during the day, and she doesn't really bottle feed, so we had to kind of figure that out, and he was basically missing work and taking care of her and trying to be there for me, and it was just a lot. So I was in the hospital Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then by Sunday morning, I was like ready to get out of there because honestly, I ended up being moved to the ICU on like Friday because they were thinking I needed more care than at intermediate. So I ended up being moved to the ICU, and it was so depressing. Like we went on a walk of the ICU on like Saturday because I was feeling better, and like Rael and Freya were with me. And just to see like all the people in the ICU that were so sick, and then I was feeling like so much better, and I could see like families coming to say goodbye to their loved ones, or they were like really like ill, you know. So anyway, we tried to make the best out of a really crummy situation. It was so hard because me and Rael, like, we really don't have family in Fargo, and so we were kind of just doing it all on our own. He was managing with my daughter all on his own. Luckily, we had some friends. Actually, one of our friends is a doctor at the hospital I was at, so he was able to like review my charts. And then Freya and Rael, they actually invited them to stay at our house so that Rael could have some help with Freya because I wasn't around. And so that ended up being like such a blessing for us. So we're just lucky in like little ways like that, you know, people just like helping us. Our friend Jelsa, she like grabbed our dog and bought her over to her house and took care of her. So just like so many little blessings from our friends. But anyway, come Sunday morning, I was like ready to get out of there. I was ready to be discharged. So I was like, come Sunday morning, I was just like ready to get out of there. I just wanted to go home because I was feeling better, and I knew that like they couldn't do any more for me there. They had to like run every test that they could run, and they were just trying to rule out like something with like a tick bite and potentially like an infection through like a tampon. So while they're like trying to rule all this out, I was, you know, the antibiotics had like all kicked in, and I was ready to go home because I knew that there was nothing more like the hospital could do for me other than like figure out what it was. So luckily I was able to talk to the doctor and be like, hey, like, can you discharge me? And he's like, sure, I'll discharge you, you know, just make sure you're taking your antibiotics and follow up with the clinic, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yes, no problem, will do. And so I got out of there on Sunday afternoon, and I'm just so happy to be home. And it's just like the wildest thing because I didn't even really want to like post about it on like YouTube and stuff because I feel crazy. I mean, I nearly died. Honestly, I did, because like our friend's husband told us, like he said to Rael, like if you had bought Karen in any later than when you did, she would have died. Like that's, he like straight up told him that. And so it's just wild. But like here I am, I feel great. Like people are just like, how are you feeling? And like, make sure you get rest. And I'm like, I feel great. Like if I didn't feel great, I wouldn't be sitting here filming right now. And so yeah, I just wanted to share like the story and tell you guys that life is short. I'm sure you guys know this, but like for me, I was like telling Rael, it's like it really hits you because you really don't realize how cushy and like easy your life is until something like this happens, because our lives are like so like they are dramatic in certain aspects. Like we have like family drama and things like that, but nothing really like, you know, crazy. But this is like I don't know, just like really shook us and like really made us realize like what a good life we have and how much we need to like cherish each other even more than we obviously do. And you know, Freya's such a trooper, and I'm just so happy that I get to be her mom every day and stay home with her and all these things that, you know, you just take for granted. So anyway, I just wanted to share kind of what happened because I feel like I just posted about it on my community tab, but I didn't really have like this big old explanation. But yeah, it was just kind of this freak thing. And I guess yesterday we did find out like the results came back of like the stuff they were waiting on to find out if it was like a tick bite or what, and it wasn't a tick bite. So the only thing my friend's husband can think that it was like maybe I had like an infection on like the outside, inside, lower part of my hoo-ha, vagina, whatever. And then with my period coming in, I had maybe like pushed it up into my vagina. Listen, I don't know. It sounds so like urban myth. Like I was telling Angie about it and she's like, that literally sounds like a Swedish urban myth because we like talk about that. And I was like, I know, it's like that like thing people say like, oh my god, don't use tampons because you lose your virginity. Like I don't know if that's a thing, okay? I'm just saying it's like an urban legend of like you getting sick with your tampons, but I don't know, like I still don't really understand it, but I feel like I'm not gonna push it. I'm just gonna probably wear pads for a few periods from like the next time I get them. But it's weird. It's strange. I can't imagine that's what it is, but that's what all the experts are telling me it is. So that's what I'm gonna go with. I have a bunch of new makeup I want to try, so I'm just looking over here. But okay, let's try this Tower 28. This is their new blush shade in the shade Office Hours. I ordered this. It's their mauve color. So let me just grab this clean Kaleidos brush and we'll just pop this color on. But yeah, so that's kind of what happened last week. And I really appreciate you guys sending me positive vibes because like that first post I made, I think it was like Saturday night at the ICU or maybe Friday night, and honestly like reading you guys's just like well wishes kept me going because I was there by myself. Like I think some of you would know if you've been on my channel for a while, like my parents still live in Sri Lanka. Like I'm a first gen immigrant and so is my husband. So actually no, my husband's second gen because his dad lives here, but they're not like very close. So anyway, I don't have anyone here to like come stay with me at the hospital and stuff like that in the ICU. So I was like by myself, like, you know, trying to keep it together because I needed to be strong for my little girl and my husband. And like Sunday, I was like in pretty bad shape because I was just so sad and I just felt so alone. So thank you to you guys. I mean, it really taught me a lesson. Like I said in that video I made about kind of being like a stay-at-home mom, you like really don't realize like, I don't know how sucky it is to be like that, or at least I never realized how sucky it was to be in the ICU until I had to go through it. So now I have like this new life perspective of like being more empathetic to people that are going through like medical stuff because I've never had that experience. So for me, like I never really, I don't know, like spent a lot of time thinking about it. And now I just feel like I have so much more compassion for somebody that's like going through medical stuff, especially if they're having to go through it alone. So yeah, those are some of the crazy things I learned and lessons and stuff like that. But yeah, me and my husband were pretty shook by the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to spray my face really quick. I'm just going to use the all-nighter from Urban Decay. Okay, so for National Lipstick Day, Sephora had a sale and like all these melt lip liners were like $10 instead of their full price of like $20. And I know my friend Heather and I think Angie too love these, so I grabbed a few different shades. I got cinnamon, cashmere, and sepia. I think I'm gonna use cashmere because I did buy the Tower 28 gloss as well. So let's go ahead and line my lips. Oh, this is a pretty color. It's like a mauve. I'm not very good at lining my lips, so I'm always trying to be better, but this was pretty easy and I really like the shade Cinnamon. So now I'm going to use the Tower 28 gloss in the shade Sesame, and you guys know I love these glosses, so I'm dying to use this Tower 28 lip gloss. So yeah, that is my lip combo, and then I just need to throw on some mascara. So I'll throw on some mascara and I'll be right back to give you guys some of my thoughts on this new Vitality palette, and that'll be all. Okay friends, so here is the finished look. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Now, just to round out what I was talking about before I finished up this look, I feel like I was all over the place. I always feel like that when I film chatty videos. I'm like, did I even make any sense? But typically in editing, it turns out okay. So hopefully I was able to kind of talk through everything that happened over the last week. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. I mean, I might not know the answer, but I can try my best. All I have to say is thank you guys so much for your kind words. It meant so much to me to have you guys leave comments and reach out and check if I was okay. If I'm not able to get back to everyone, I do apologize, but just know it got me through a really tough time, and I definitely would love to talk about this some more and, you know, keep you guys updated on how things have been since. But thank you guys so much for checking up on me and like telling me to get rest and stuff like that. Honestly, I wouldn't be filming if I didn't feel really, really good. I feel great, and yeah, it's just like a total 180 from the way I felt this time last week. But I mean, the medicine worked, and so I'm able to get up and do stuff, which I'm really, really grateful for. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about this palette. So of course I did basically, you know, my favorite, a green look. So I did use these shades. So I used Glee, I used Vibrancy, Thriving, Striking, Verve, sorry, this duochrome. So beautiful. It's all of my lids, and then I use the shade Energy on my inner corner. This is a really fun palette. I know that looking at it, it can be kind of scary because it's a big palette. It's got a lot of colorful shades in it, but you guys know me, I like thrive on palettes like this, so I'm so glad I was able to play with it. I will say when I swatched it this way because one of the tricks with a colorful palette like this, if it's like intimidating, is definitely just to go column by column. I feel like a lot of brands are doing that where they will give you like a little bit of a curated color story. You can also look at it as quads and kind of break it down that way if you don't quite want to go like all out and jump around the palette. But yeah, this is a beautiful palette. Not that I was expecting anything less from Unearthly. I feel like they rarely disappoint me when it comes to their launches. So thank you so much to them for sending this my way. I hope I didn't shake you guys too much with that story, but I wanted to share because I feel like I posted about it here and there a little bit, but yeah, that's kind of just the life update for now. And yeah, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I have so many palettes I need to film with. There's a new palette that I think is going to be announced on Saturday that I have with me that I really want to film with. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. I also have 2 videos that I pre-filmed before I got sick, so I'm gonna have to edit those and post those sometime. But thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in a new video very soon. Bye!